My family tried to humiliate me at dinner, until I revealed my brother's penthouse was actually mine all along. Reddit stories. They mocked my lack of ambition, while bragging about Logan's luxury lifestyle, not knowing he'd been paying me rent for years. The second I dropped the truth, the entire table froze as decades of favoritism cracked wide open. Hi, I'm Jason, 28, and last month my family tried to humiliate me over dinner, right up until I dropped the one sentence that nuked the entire table into silence. Logan's penthouse? Yeah, he's been renting it from me for years. But before we get to the moment my mother's soul briefly left her body, let me back up. I grew up as the family's invisible child. Not unloved exactly, just unprioritized. If my younger brother Logan so much as breathed enthusiastically, my parents acted like he was auditioning for the role of chosen one in a prophecy film. He laughed? He was charismatic. He lied? He was creative. He caused problems? He was misunderstood. Meanwhile, I existed primarily as the person Monica, my mom, compared him to. Logan got the big bedroom with bay windows. I got the former storage room that smelled like damp socks and despair. Logan got a new bike every birthday. I once got socks because you're practical. Logan drew a crooked sun in kindergarten and it lived on the fridge for 7 years. I brought home honor roll certificates and Monica said, well, obviously. And Logan learned real quick that the world bent for him as long as he weaponized cuteness and confusion. If he annoyed me. Relax, dude. It's not that deep. If he stole my stuff. I thought you weren't using it. If he straight up lied. You misunderstood. My parents? He's just playful, Jason. Why are you so serious all the time? By high school, we weren't brothers. We were a main character and an unpaid extra. And honestly? I adapted. Being unseen meant I could build in peace. While Logan cultivated charisma like it was a crop he'd someday monetize, I was quietly absorbing everything: money, markets, real estate, the kind of long game thinking Logan's brain cell count couldn't handle under pressure. Fast forward to adulthood, and Logan was still performing success. I was quietly building it. But to my family? Only the performance mattered. Which is how we eventually ended up at that dinner, the one where my mom tried to shame me for not owning a penthouse like Logan did, unaware she was bragging about my property. She thought she was humiliating me. I was seconds away from returning the favor. By the time college hit, the gap between me and Logan wasn't just visible, it was a canyon. And my parents stood on his side of it waving pom-poms. Logan got accepted into a well-known university. Monica acted like he got chosen for the Mars mission. She cried. Frank shook his hand like he just sold a company. Relatives sent congratulatory money. Meanwhile, Logan's talent was vibes. Strong vibes. Nothing else. Me? I went to community college because it was smart and affordable. Which Monica interpreted as me lacking ambition. She'd say things like, Logan dreams big. You should try that sometimes. Try what exactly? Partying until noon? Forgetting deadlines? Majoring in whatever my girlfriend likes this semester. Logan's degree path looked like a drunk man choosing menu items. Pre-med. Business. Psychology. Marketing. Finally communications, because he accidentally had enough credits for it. My parents funded every penny. Tuition, housing, meal plans, monthly. Emergency. Money, usually spent on shoes. I, meanwhile, worked 2 jobs. Sometimes 3. Warehouse overnight shift. Shelf stocking. Tutoring algebra to students who wanted to be anywhere else. Monica would call me during my 5 minutes of free time. You need to network more, Jason. Logan knows how to put himself out there. Yes, Monica, I'd love to network, but unfortunately I'm busy lifting 60-pound boxes so I don't starve. When Logan graduated, they threw him a party so extravagant that neighbors asked if a celebrity was visiting. When I graduated, Monica gave me a card that said, Proud of you. and $25 inside. We celebrated at a chain restaurant. Logan complained about the fries. They posted his graduation photos on Facebook for months. Mine? One blurry picture where half my face was cut off, and Monica wrote, "So proud of both my boys." Both capitalized, as if she needed a reason to mention Logan in my post. But even then, I didn't compete. I didn't want the spotlight. I wanted stability. Skills. Leverage. Logan wanted applause. So while he posed for photos and rented suits, I was quietly learning the financial machinery behind real estate. Mortgages. Equity. Market cycles. Risk tolerance. I didn't need their validation. I needed a foundation. By 24, I had one. Small but solid. But Logan? He had a wardrobe, a social media persona, and a talent for making Monica believe he was one good selfie away from being a millionaire. Nothing he built was real. Yet. My family couldn't see that part. They couldn't see anything I was building. But they were absolutely going to see it one day. Just, not the way they expected. The turning point, when everything in our family dynamic quietly flipped, came during the pandemic. While Logan spent lockdown doing influencer collaborations that never paid him, I watched the real estate market shift like a tectonic plate. Luxury units were sitting empty. Owners wanted out fast. Prices were dipping below sanity. And then I saw it. A penthouse at Harrison Tower. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Wraparound terrace. Open layout. A skyline view straight out of a movie trailer. The price? Ridiculously low for what it was. I thought it was a typo until I saw the seller's name, a tech exec relocating across the country who wanted speed over profit. Perfect. For 3 weeks, I studied the numbers like they were holy scripture. Even in a downturn, the rental yield worked. The appreciation potential worked. The financing options worked. And my savings, patiently stacked over years, were finally enough to make a real move. I bought it quietly. No fanfare. No Instagram posts. No. Look what I did. Speeches. Just one signature, and the biggest investment of my life was mine. But I didn't put the property under my name. I used an LLC, standard practice for rentals. And I hired a management company to handle everything. Repairs, inspections, tenants. I wanted zero personal involvement. Because I knew, if my family found out I owned a multi-million-dollar penthouse, the reaction would be a nightmare cocktail of jealousy from some relatives and lectures from Monica about how luxury corrupts character. Then came the moment that changed everything. 3 months after renovations finished, the management company sent me an approved tenant application. I skimmed it lazily. Until I saw the name. Logan Mitchell. My brother. He was applying to rent my penthouse. And he had no idea. His bank statements looked impressive, until you realized all the deposits came from his then-girlfriend Vanessa, who liked dating men who seemed successful. Logan was trying to level up his image. He wanted to live in a penthouse so people would think he made it. And the universe decided the penthouse he needed for clout was mine. I sat back in my chair and stared at the screen, stunned and borderline entertained. I could have declined his application. I could have texted him immediately. I could have told my parents. But instead, I approved it. Logan moved in. He posted endless photos. He bragged nonstop. He acted like he'd won life. And the whole family worshipped him for it. My mother especially. "Logan is really becoming a man," she said. "You should learn from him, Jason." Meanwhile, every month, I got housekeeping inspection photos of Logan's sunglasses, Logan's designer shoes, Logan's wine bottles. Inside my property. He had no idea he was literally living on the foundation I'd built. And I didn't plan to tell him. Not until the day he pushed too far. At a dinner. My birthday dinner. Where he and Monica tried to humiliate me. and instead handed me the perfect setup for the reveal that broke the entire table. Logan living in my penthouse became his entire personality. He called it my place with his chest puffed out like he'd architected the skyline himself. He held game nights, date nights, photo shoots, hosted rooftop margarita parties where the margaritas cost more than his actual net worth. Every photo he posted was the same pose. Leaning on the terrace railing, staring at the skyline like he owned it, and was deciding whether to buy the rest. Meanwhile, the family group chat exploded daily with Monica's proud mom announcements. Look at Logan's view! Some people are meant for luxury. Success just fits him, doesn't it? Then she'd pivot and aim her emotional sniper rifle directly at me. Jason, have you ever considered pushing yourself more? You're older than Logan, dear. You should be ahead. A man should aspire to more than a small apartment. These weren't suggestions, they were insults dressed like guidance. Logan was living in my penthouse, and somehow she was using it to shame me. Frank didn't help. He'd sit there nodding, adding gems like, well, Logan does have that entrepreneurial spirit. Yes, Frank. The entrepreneurial spirit of paying rent late with someone else's money. Speaking of, rent started coming in late. Then later. Then, temporarily delayed because of a banking issue. The property manager, Nadia, emailed me polite summaries like, tenant is experiencing short-term financial inconsistency. Translation. Logan is broke and pretending he's not. The only reason he stayed afloat at all was Vanessa, the girlfriend with a trust fund and a love for men who looked good in edited photos. When she got bored and dumped him, rent became a fantasy concept. My family, of course, had no clue. At dinner gatherings, Logan would loudly talk about real estate insights, as if he hadn't spent his entire adult life avoiding spreadsheets like they were physical labor. He'd say things like, honestly, renting a penthouse is smarter than buying. Ownership is a trap. Monica applauded him like he invented the concept of renting. Meanwhile, I, the actual owner, was invisible as usual. But then Logan brought someone new into the chaos. Tara. She was dramatic, loud, and supportive in the worst possible way. The kind of person who encourages delusion like it's philanthropy. She'd lean into Logan's stories with wide eyes and say things like, you're meant for bigger things, babe. People just can't handle your rise. Rise. The only rising happening was his outstanding rent balance. And then came the ultimate twist. At a family lunch, Logan announced to everyone, I'm thinking about buying the penthouse. I nearly inhaled my drink. Monica gasped like she'd witnessed divine prophecy. Oh, Logan, she gushed. This is exactly why you're going places and your brother still isn't taking risks. That moment? That was the match that lit the fuse. And when my birthday dinner rolled around, I knew. Absolutely knew. Things were going to blow sky high. My birthday dinner was supposed to be simple. A nice meal. Some polite conversation. An emotionally neutral evening where no one weaponized dessert, forks, or childhood memories. But of course, I forgot one critical rule. My family doesn't attend dinners. They attend opportunities to perform. The restaurant was upscale, white tablecloths, quiet jazz, servers who glide like ghosts. Monica picked it, naturally. A classy place for celebrating my boys, she said. By boys, she meant Logan. I arrived on time. Monica and Frank were already seated. Monica gave me a smile that felt administrative. Then Logan arrived with Tara, 20 minutes late, loud, and wearing the expression of a man expecting applause. They didn't apologize. They didn't need to. Monica lit up like someone plugged her into an outlet. Traffic near Logan's place was awful, Tara said loudly, deliberately, making sure everyone heard the key phrase. Logan leaned back smugly. My penthouse is right by the highway. It gets crazy around that time. There it was. The opening act. Monica clasped her hands dramatically. Oh, Logan, that view you have! I swear, it looks like the city belongs to you. Then she turned to me, her expression shifting from admiration to disappointment faster than a stage spotlight. Jason, you're almost 30. Don't you think it's time you upgraded your life? Your brother is setting such a good example. Frank nodded with his usual meaningless wisdom. Your brother does have an eye for luxury. Yes. An eye. Not a wallet. Tara jumped in next. She lived for this kind of tension. You should really look into living somewhere like that too, Jason. Successful men elevate their environment. Logan smirked like he taught a master class. Meanwhile, the only thing he'd elevated was his debt. Monica doubled down. Honestly, Jason, I'm worried. You're still in that little apartment. You work hard, but you don't think big. Then the dagger. You could learn from your brother. Every sentence was perfectly designed to humiliate me, in a restaurant no less. Logan leaned forward, swirling his drink like a man who'd read one article about wealth. I'll send you the name of my realtor, he offered. He only works with serious clients, but I'll vouch for you. I almost burst out laughing. The tenant vouching for the owner. Monica beamed with pride. Logan, you're such a good role model. I don't know why Jason doesn't push himself harder. My fork clinked softly against my plate. I'd been patient my whole life. Quiet. Strategic. Invisible by design. But there comes a moment when even the quietest person decides they've collected enough receipts. I wiped my hands calmly on a napkin. Then said, Actually, I've seen the Penthouse. Logan blinked. Monica frowned. Tara paused mid-sip. What do you mean you've seen it? Logan asked. I looked him in the eye. I get monthly housekeeping and inspection reports. With photos. The ones you signed off on in your lease. And just like that, the table went dead silent. Logan froze first. Not dramatically, no gasp, no dropped fork, just stillness. Like someone had hit pause on his entire personality. Monica blinked twice, confused. Frank squinted like the menu suddenly got blurry. Tara's eyebrows shot up so fast they nearly left the building. What lease? Logan said finally, voice cracking like an old chair. I kept my tone calm. Polite. Surgical. The lease you signed with the management company, I said. For the penthouse. My penthouse. Monica leaned in, frowning deeply. Jason, what are you talking about? Why would you say something so ridiculous? I unlocked my phone, tapped twice, and turned the screen so Logan could see the landlord dashboard with his name right at the top. Tenant, Logan Mitchell. Unit Harrison Tower, Penthouse. Outstanding balance, 3 months overdue. He stared at it like it was written in an alien language. Tara gasped. Frank finally understood something was happening and sat up straighter. Monica's voice came out sharp. Jason, is this some kind of joke? No, I said. Logan has been renting my penthouse for years. Through my LLC. Through my management company. That's why I've seen it. Monica's face went from confusion to denial to horror. You mean, she whispered, my Logan doesn't own it? He told us. Logan cut her off, flustered. I never said I owned it. I just said. You heavily implied it, I said. Repeatedly. Tara looked at him like she just laid eyes on a disappointing appetizer. Monica grabbed onto the only defense she had left. Why didn't you tell us, Jason? You let us believe he was successful. I looked directly at her. Mom, I wasn't going to interrupt your bragging marathon to explain that the thing you kept praising him for was something I built. Frank chimed in, because of course he did. Well, maybe Logan was going to pay back the rent eventually. Frank, I said, your son is 3 months overdue. Logan's face flamed red. This is humiliating. Monica snapped at me, as if I'd betrayed them. You embarrassed us. I raised an eyebrow. You humiliated me first. You've been mocking my apartment, calling me unambitious, comparing me to Logan nonstop, while Logan was living off something I worked for. Silence. Thick. Awkward. Delicious. Then Logan tried the classic Mitchell family move, gaslight and escape. "You're making this into a bigger deal than it is," he said. "I was going to catch up. You could have just told me privately." "And you," I said calmly, "could have paid rent on time." He stared at the table. Tara scooted her chair slightly away from him. I took a breath. "Here's what happens now," I said, voice steady. "Logan has 30 days to pay everything he owes, or he moves out. No arguments. No extensions." Monica slammed her napkin on the table. "You're treating him like a stranger." "No," I said. "Like a tenant." Frank exhaled slowly. Monica looked at Logan like someone had unplugged her favorite appliance. "Logan?" His entire aura collapsed. And for the first time in my life, the entire table saw me. Not as the quiet brother. Not as the background character. As the man who owned the ground Logan was standing on. The days after that dinner felt like standing in the eye of a hurricane, quiet, but only because everything loud was circling right outside. Monica called first. Then again. Then again. Every voicemail was a different emotional flavor. Guilt. Rage. Disappointment. "You need to fix this, Jason. Your brother is devastated. You blindsided us. Family does not treat each other like this." Not once did she say, "Logan lied." Or, "Logan hasn't paid rent in months." Or, "Logan has been bragging about property he doesn't own." Nope. Her angle was simple. If Logan was embarrassed, it must be my fault. Frank, as usual, tried to play the moral referee. "Now, Jason, maybe you were a bit harsh. Maybe Logan didn't want to worry you. Maybe he meant to pay eventually." "Yes, Frank. And maybe the tooth fairy is also behind on rent." Logan texted next. And the messages were pure chaos. Text number 1. "Bro, I'm sorry I messed up." Text number 2, 10 minutes later. "You didn't have to humiliate me like that." Text number 3. "This is your fault for keeping secrets." Text number 4. "So, about the rent, can we work something out?" Each one felt like spinning a wheel labeled "Sorry, blame, self-pity, negotiate." I didn't respond immediately. Honestly, I needed a day to let my blood pressure return to normal levels. Meanwhile, Tara jumped into the drama the only way she knew how, indirectly and loudly. She posted vague quotes on Instagram. "Some people hate to see others rise. If you can't handle someone's glow, step back. Jealousy is loud, success is silent." Logan reshared the first one. Then unshared it 30 minutes later. Our cousin Blake called too. He always sided with whoever was loudest. "Man, Logan said you went nuclear at dinner. Why didn't you just talk to him privately?" I said. "Why didn't he pay rent privately?" Silence. Blake hung up. The extended family split into factions. Team Logan. Jason was too harsh. Team Jason. Logan needed the reality check. Team passive-aggressive neutral. We don't know what happened, but we hope everyone heals. But the person who surprised me most wasn't Monica, or Frank, or Logan. It was Nadia, the property manager. She called and said, "Logan told me he's planning to move out before the deadline." I think reality finally hit him. Reality hitting Logan? That alone could have been a national holiday. Within a week, Logan started packing. Tara stayed for the drama. Then left halfway through when she realized Logan wasn't the wealthy man she curated on her social media. Big shocker. Nadia's move-out report came back clean. Logan didn't trash the place. Didn't steal anything. Didn't throw a tantrum. He just left. Quietly. For the first time in his life. When the keys were turned in, I waived the overdue rent. Not out of weakness. Because insisting on it would keep the connection alive. This wasn't revenge. This was closure. Logan moved into a decent, small apartment he could actually afford. No skyline view. No terrace photos. No penthouse energy. And for once, he didn't pretend otherwise. The noise around me finally softened. But the conversation that changed everything? That was still coming. Logan wasn't done. Not yet. Logan didn't reach out immediately after moving out. For about 2 weeks, he went completely silent. No texts, no calls, no vague quotes about leveling up or betrayal. A total blackout. Honestly, it was the most peaceful 2 weeks I'd had in years. Then, on a random Wednesday night, at 9:47 p.m., I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. "Hey, can we talk?" It was Logan. No emojis. No paragraphs. No defensiveness. Just a sentence. I stared at it for a long moment. Not because I was angry, but because I wasn't. There was no heat left in the situation. Just space. I typed back. "Where?" He responded instantly. "Anywhere that's not a restaurant." Fair enough. We met at a coffee shop near my office. Not fancy. Not dramatic. Just neutral ground. Logan walked in looking different. Not the hair-gelled, perfectly lit self from his Instagram days. Not the smug, relaxed prince of the penthouse. He looked tired. Human. And maybe for the first time in his life, real. He sat down, didn't order anything, didn't make a joke, didn't try to charm the silence away. He started with, "I messed up." No excuses. No spin. No. "But you should've." Just that. I leaned back, giving him room. He rubbed his face like he was bracing for impact. "After the dinner, everything kinda collapsed," he said. "Tara left. Vanessa blocked me. Mom wouldn't stop lecturing me. Dad kept telling me to look at it from Jason's side. And I just..." He paused. "I realized I'd built my whole life on nothing." I didn't interrupt. Logan exhaled. "You were working. Saving. Learning. Building. And I was..." He swallowed. "Pretending." That admission alone would have shocked our entire family tree. He looked at the table, tracing a crack in the wood with his thumb. "When Vanessa and I moved into the penthouse, I really believed that was my moment," he said. "That if I looked successful, I'd become successful. But it was just an expensive costume." I didn't smile or nod or soften the moment. He needed to sit in it. "I kept thinking you'd always be you," he said. Quiet. Background. Easy to ignore. "That you'd stay in place while I figured stuff out." He lifted his eyes. "You didn't stay in place." It wasn't admiration in his voice. It was disbelief. Maybe even respect. "I'm not asking you to fix anything," he said finally. "I just needed to say it to your face." He waited. Hands clenched. Shoulders tense. I took a breath. "Logan, you didn't lose the penthouse," I said. "You lost the story you were telling." He winced but nodded. "And now?" I asked. He shrugged. "I got a job. A real one. My boss actually expects me to show up. It's weird." I snorted. He cracked a shaky smile, small, unpolished, real. We didn't fix everything that night. We didn't hug dramatically. We didn't cry into our overpriced lattes. We just talked. Two grown men. No stage. No spotlight. No penthouse glow. Just brothers. When we stood up to leave, Logan hesitated. "Jason?" he said softly. "Yeah? That place, the penthouse. You made something incredible. I lived in it, and I never even knew who built it." That was the closest thing to praise he'd ever given me. I nodded once. "Build your own place next time," I said. He nodded back. "For once," he murmured, "I actually want to." He walked out into the night. And for the first time in our lives, we felt like we were standing on equal ground. Logan's apology didn't magically transform our family dynamic. It wasn't a movie moment where everything softens and people suddenly understand each other. If anything, His honesty created a new kind of pressure, not between him and me, but between him and our parents. Because now Logan wasn't performing anymore. And Monica absolutely hated that. The first sign came 3 days after our talk. I was eating breakfast when my phone buzzed with a text from Logan. "Mom's losing it. Just giving you a heads up." I sighed. Of course she was. 20 minutes later she called me. I didn't answer. Then she called again. Then she left what might be the most dramatic voicemail she's ever produced. And this is a woman who once cried for 45 minutes because a restaurant served her a salad with emotionally cold energy. Her message began with, "Jason, your brother is in crisis and this is your fault." Ah. There it is. The default setting. Then she went on. "He says he talked to you. He says he admits things. He's telling us he lied. He's saying he was wrong. What did you do to him? He's not acting like himself." I nearly choked on my toast. "No, Mom. He's acting like himself for the first time. But if Logan wasn't the shining star she built her universe around, then everything she ever preached about, raising high-achieving men, came crashing down. She needed him to be successful. Or at least look successful. Because it validated her. And now her golden child was ordinary. Human. Growing up. She called again later that day, this time not angry, desperate. "Jason," she whispered harshly. "Fix him. Fix him." Like Logan was a malfunctioning appliance. I said nothing and hung up. Logan texted me later. "Thanks for not feeding into Mom's drama. I'm actually doing fine. Just annoyed." For him, annoyed was progress. At our next family dinner, the first since the Penthouse meltdown, the energy around the table felt like a cracked vase someone had glued back together. Mostly stable. But fragile. Monica hovered over Logan, fluttering like he'd come home from war. She served him first, cut his chicken, asked 8 times if he needed anything. Meanwhile, she didn't even look at me. Classic. Frank attempted casual conversation. "So, work is good, Jason?" "It is." "That's good." He had no idea what to do with equality. He'd spent years balancing excuses for Logan against lowered expectations for me. Now both of us were solid, adult, and calling our own shots. He looked like a referee with no whistle. Logan didn't brag, didn't posture, didn't fill the room with noise. He talked about work in simple terms. He admitted it was hard. He mentioned getting feedback and trying to improve. Monica winced every time he said something normal. She wanted the illusion back. The penthouse. The skyline selfies. The effortless rise. She couldn't handle the real version of her son, the one who wasn't wrapped in sparkle and entitlement. At one point she burst out. "Logan, sweetie, you shouldn't downplay yourself. You're extraordinary. You always have been. You're meant for big things. Not an office." Logan's fork froze mid-air. Then he looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in his life. "Mom," he said slowly, "I'm doing something real. For once, I actually feel grounded." Monica looked like someone had unplugged her soul. But Jason," Logan cut her off. "Jason didn't ruin anything." "I messed up. I needed a reset." You could hear the shock in the silence. "My mother has never handled accountability. Especially not when it came from her favorite child." Frank cleared his throat. "Well, I think you're both doing well. And maybe this is good." Monica slapped her napkin onto her lap hard enough to startle the salt shaker. "It's not good, Frank. Nothing about this is good. My boys shouldn't be competing." "We're not," Logan said. "We never were." Her voice cracked. "I don't know who you both are anymore." I finally spoke. "We're adults, Mom." That landed like a stone in water. For once, she had no script ready. Dinner ended early. Logan walked out beside me. "She hates this," he muttered. "She'll adjust or she won't," I said. He nodded. Yeah. I guess that's her problem now. For the first time in our lives, we weren't living inside her expectations. We were just, us. Brothers on level ground. He stopped before getting into his car. Hey. Jace? Yeah? Thanks. For the wake-up call. Even if it punched me in the face. I smirked. You needed more than a punch. He laughed, small but real. Yeah. I did. He drove off. And for the first time, I didn't feel like the background character in my own family. Logan's reset era, as he jokingly called it, didn't magically make him a productivity machine. It wasn't a straight upward climb. It was more like Week 1. I'm actually enjoying work. Week 2. I might die if I have to answer one more email. Week 3. I think my boss likes me? He didn't elaborate, which told me he was finally learning boundaries. Week 4. Holy crap, Jason. Paychecks feel amazing. Progress. But the real shift came when Logan started asking, not for money, not for shortcuts, not for praise, but for advice. Not in a needy way. In a grown man trying to build something real way. Like, hey, is this a good credit card APR? Or, how do I set up a budget that doesn't make me feel dead inside? Or, wait, taxes are complicated? The questions were embarrassingly basic, but that was the point. He wasn't pretending anymore. One night he texted me. Can you look at something real quick? Attached was a spreadsheet. A real one. Organized. Color-coded. With Logan's name on it. I stared at it like it was a rare animal returning from extinction. He'd made a budget. For himself. Without anyone forcing him. I called immediately. You made this? Yeah, he said, embarrassed. It sucks, right? No, I said. It's solid. You did good. He went silent for a moment. Then said, thanks. But while Logan was growing, Monica was shriveling. She didn't know what to do with a version of Logan who wasn't performing success for her. She didn't know what to do with a version of me who wasn't overshadowed. And she hated that Logan and I were suddenly aligned, speaking the same language, supporting each other, having conversations she wasn't part of. So she tried to wedge herself back into control the only way she knew how: emotional sabotage. She called Logan constantly. What are you doing with your life? Why aren't you aiming higher? You look tired. Are you unhappy? Are you sure Jason isn't manipulating you? That last one made Logan snap. He visited my apartment one Saturday afternoon, dropped onto the couch, and said, Mom's spiraling. Hard. I handed him a soda. Define spiraling. She said you're trying to replace her influence. That you turn me against the family. That you enjoy watching her suffer. I choked on my drink. Please tell me she didn't use the word influence. Oh, she did, Logan said. At least 3 times. He rubbed his eyes. It's like she doesn't want me to grow up. She wants me to stay the version of me that makes her feel important. Correct, I said. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. I always thought she was just being, you know. Mom. That is Mom. He sighed. She said I was happier before. You were delusional before. I said. There's a difference. He cracked a smile. Yeah. I know that now. Then his expression shifted, more serious. Jason, did Mom always treat you like you didn't matter? The question hit harder than I expected. I'd never wanted Logan to carry guilt over things he didn't cause. But he was finally ready to face the truth. No gloss, no denial, no excuses. Yeah, I said quietly. She did. He nodded, jaw tightening. That sucks, man. It did. But it's over now. He took that in slowly. You really don't hate me? I shook my head. No. I was frustrated. But I never hated you. He exhaled, a breath he'd probably held for years without knowing it. Then he said something that floored me. I want to earn your respect, not just borrow your view. It was such a perfect Logan metaphor I almost laughed. But it was also the most honest thing he'd ever said. You've already started, I told him. He looked relieved. Almost lighter. We talked for an hour, about work, relationships, money, expectations. Real conversations. The kind brothers are supposed to have. When he stood to leave, he hesitated. Jason? Yeah? You know Mom's never going to accept this, right? Us being equals? I know. And she's going to throw a fit when she realizes she can't control either of us anymore. Oh, I said. She already knows. He snorted. So what do we do? I opened the door for him. We keep building our own lives. And she either adapts, or gets left behind. He nodded, a slow, steady nod that felt like a turning point. Yeah, he said. I think I'm done being her trophy. For the first time in decades, we walked out of a room not as rivals, not as roles, not as cliché family archetypes, but as two men finally stepping out of the old script and writing a new one together. In the end, our mother didn't have a breakdown or a revelation. She didn't apologize. She didn't reflect. She didn't change. She just kept trying to drag us back into the old script. Every call was the same tug-of-war between reality and the world she'd built in her head. A world where Logan was brilliant because she said so. Where I was fine, because she didn't have to think about me. Where her sons were trophies she could arrange on a shelf to make herself feel successful. But now both trophies were walking off the shelf. Logan cut down his calls with her, started setting boundaries. Not cruel, just firm. He stopped entertaining her dramatics, stopped performing for her audience, stopped letting her define him. She panicked, of course. But he didn't bend. And once she realized either of us were going to fall back into line, she did what she always does when she loses control. She pretended nothing was wrong. At the next family gathering, she acted like the past 6 months never happened. She complimented Logan's new job like she'd helped him get it, then asked me stiffly, So, Jason, are you still doing that finance thing? Logan laughed. Not mockingly, just knowingly. He looked at me, then said to her, Mom, Jason owns more property than anyone in this family. Maybe ask him how he does it. She froze. And for the first time in my life, I didn't shrink or brush it off. I just said, Yeah, I'm doing well, and left it at that. No explanations. No justification. No need to prove anything. Because I finally understood something. I wasn't the background character. I was never the one in the shadows. I'd just been building a life in silence while they were busy applauding noise. Logan built his life too, not with image, not with borrowed glow, but with actual effort. And as he grew, the distance between who he was and who our mother wanted him to be became something permanent. But that wasn't a tragedy. It was freedom. We're not best friends now. We're not perfect. We're not trying to rewrite our childhood. We're just two adults finally living on our own terms. Sometimes Logan texts me pictures of his new place, small, modest, but his. Sometimes I show him the new project I'm working on. Sometimes we talk about nothing at all, which somehow feels like progress too. And our mother? She still pretends. Still reaches for the old story. Still refuses to see us as who we are instead of who she imagined. But that's her world. Not ours. We've stepped out of it. In the end, the penthouse wasn't the twist. It wasn't even justice. It was just the moment everything became undeniable. The moment truth outshined performance. The moment the golden sun lost his shine and found himself. The moment the quiet son stopped being quiet and stepped fully into his own life. And neither of us has looked back since.